Welcome back to the channel where we
rate good movies and we do not lie about the bad ones.
Today we're reviewing Godzilla -1. There will be spoilers.
There will be. So Godzilla. Do you like Godzilla?
I do. I was definitely a Godzilla kid. Do you remember we had a Godzilla animation show that I watched religiously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked Godzilla. I probably liked the more cheesy stuff. Not really the American stuff. Although I did go see Godzilla 1989, which was a terrible movie from what I remember, but I still loved it because I was a kid and it was stomping on everything. So that's the Godzilla I remember. What's the Godzilla you remember? Same kind of thing?
I remember the really old crappy Japanese Godzilla movies.
Yeah, the really cheesy ones with the rubber suit and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
the really bad ones.
So, yeah, anyway, tell me what is Godzilla -1? What is it about?
It takes place right after World War II. Everything is kind of getting rebuilt. We're seeing what's left of Tokyo, Japan, and seeing how everybody is coping with their losses. And then our protagonist, I don't even know what his name is, and
their names are really
I don't know how to pronounce it. I know how it starts with an S. It's like SH something.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I don't know. It is not a cheesy Godzilla movie. The American movies that maybe some people don't think are cheesy compared to this movie.
In this movie, they take time to build up the characters. You care about every single one of the characters. In every single American Godzilla movie I have seen, I have wanted every single one of the characters to die. Genuinely, I hated them.
Especially Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh my gosh.
And her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Millie Bobby Brown's mom in the movie. None of those characters have any redeemable qualities, and yeah, I was waiting. That's exactly my point.
I just wanted Godzilla to kill everyone. I wanted him to stop. Right. That's what I was looking forward to. In this movie, I was dreading Godzilla coming again. I was genuinely scared for the characters.
Yeah. So that's okay. That's the difference, right? Is we Americans grew up. We don't really understand Japanese culture as far as why Godzilla became a thing, and Godzilla basically is the Japanese personification of the atom bomb, what it did to their people and their country, which was obviously laid waste. They had no control, and and so Godzilla is kind of the epitome of that for them, so they could explore those themes and stuff.
In this movie, Godzilla, in other movies, Godzilla was always protecting the city from some other giant monster. In this movie, Godzilla is the giant monster, and he's definitely
terrifying.
A monster.
Yeah, he's terrifying.
The soundtrack alone was menacing enough, but then you add in the way the design for Godzilla, he looks real. Yeah,
the special effects in this movie, and I would say there's a couple of scenes where
it's not very good.
They're not very good, but you have to remember this movie cost $15 million to make. The last Godzilla that they made, American Godzilla movie, cost almost $200 million to make. And this movie, Godzilla -1, was, I mean, it was astronomically better than they're not comparable. And really because I got bored of, in the American versions, I get bored of Godzilla.
It's the same movie over and over again.
Right, Godzilla stomps on stuff. We can't do anything to stop it.
Wait, but I love Godzilla. We can't kill him.
Yeah, right.
Even though he's destroying my city and killing tens of millions of people, but I love him.
Yeah, I'd say how many characters? There's probably a good 10 characters, maybe. I will just say maybe 5, 6 characters in Godzilla -1 that you genuinely care about.
Well, starting off, if we're gonna talk about the people, originally the main character, whatever his name is, he abandoned his duty in the military.
All right, so here's the spoilers.
Yeah.
So If you don't want to hear spoilers, don't be watching this from here on out.
He abandoned his duty in the military. He felt very bad about this, especially when he came home and his neighbor lady, whatever her
Oh
name
yeah,
is,
she berated
she's
him.
hysterical.
Yeah, because basically everybody she knows and cared about died, and she blames him and
People like him
for not for not doing their duty to their country. And back then, with the Japanese, their duty was the honorable thing for a kamikaze pilot was to die in battle. You crash your plane into a ship
And he was a kamikaze pilot.
So she
hated him
because, she basically blamed him as part of the reason her family's dead now.
Her, 3 kids?
Yeah, so there's a whole, everybody has an arc in this movie. Even smaller characters have an arc in this, and it's pretty rewarding, I would say, because, and we're not talking these little arcs where, it means nothing, there's a little
they
payoff.
smiled at each other now.
Right, yeah, these big emotional payoffs. I teared up in this movie, a Godzilla movie of all movies, which I would have never foresaw, but the writing was so good. And there's maybe 3 or 4 appearances of Godzilla in the movie.
There's the first one, there's when they're on the ship or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think after that it's the city, and then
4.
Yeah, 4, yeah.
So it doesn't sound like a lot, but
you don't need a lot. You don't want Godzilla to appear in this movie.
Right.
You genuinely like the characters. You do not want anything bad to happen to them. When Godzilla shows up, you're like, no, go away.
Right. Who's he gonna take now? Who's he gonna? Yeah.
Because he's gonna kill someone. Yeah.
Yeah. So they take the subject matter on this very, very seriously, and it's not. Some people have said that the Japanese acting is, what's the word? Melodramatic. I really didn't think so. I
think that all the dramatics that happened with the characters were well earned.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I thought it was. Really, there was no point. We were discussing that after the movie. I was trying to figure out if there was any part of that movie that didn't have to be in there. If there was a wasted frame, and I really don't think there was.
And then Godzilla, his I don't even know what they called it. Did they
atomic breath
or heat breath or something like that? That's what they called it in the movie.
Oh man,
it was amazing.
Yeah, it do be powerful. Yeah. It was very. There was a couple times where I was like, wow,
Bang.
Because like I said, I go back to the American movies. That's what I was raised on. When I watched the 1954 Japanese version, which even back when I was little, I watched that, and I was like, yeah, that's really cheesy. Even when you compare it to the 60s and 70s versions that I saw when I was little, those are still cheesy, but in fact, I guess they are more cheesy, but the special effects are certainly better. Anyway, but this, yeah, it's visceral, the destruction. It's not, they illustrate that that's not just a building. There's people in there, It's a city that was trying to rebuild. They lost the war, and the war wasn't a war by the people. It was a war by the government. And the people just tried to do their duty. They lost. And who suffered the most? The people. The government didn't suffer. They had to swallow their honor. But the people gave their lives, their families, their cities were burned. And Japan didn't surrender. It wasn't because they didn't want to surrender. It was because the government refused to surrender. That's reality. And I think, in a way, this is kind of a way to show that the people are looking for redemption. was a really good movie. That's all I have to. I don't really want to talk too much about it and spoil it, but music
was genuinely amazing. The musical cues too, like, were on point. I remember, like, the first time we hear the Godzilla theme, Godzilla's tearing through the city, and he's not sparing anyone.
No.
And the music just kind of starts, like, there's nothing really to, like, bring you into it, you know, like, there's no transition. But I liked it because there wasn't a transition to, like, Godzilla either.
Right. Yeah.
Like, he was just there.
Yeah, he
Like,
just
he just came. Like, the music reflects what is going on in the movie, and that's what it should be.
Yeah, and it was really neat.
And then every time Godzilla attacked, the musical cue changed. Because what was it? It was like the
old Godzilla theme from 1954, and then they kind of do some of the 80s and 90s themes, but they're more serious. They're not cheesy. They're orchestrated. You know, I mean, that stuff was orchestrated too, but they're really good. It's really good arrangements. The music is fantastic. I mean, it's really good.
The music alone is better than half the movies now.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to ruin too much, but what do you think? What would you give? What would you give Godzilla -1?
A 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, it's one of the best movies I've seen in probably 5 years, and that's not an exaggeration. It was fantastic.
It was.
I loved the characters. Like, I was genuinely, when someone was gonna get hurt, I was like, oh, man, it pissed me off. It was really, really well done.
I would recommend seeing this in theaters. Like,
yeah, see it in theaters.
Just for
the sound design and
the visuals.
The visuals. Yeah, the music, it was really well done. Yeah, and it's subtitled. The movie is subtitled, but that didn't really bother me.
You don't even notice it, yeah.
No, once you get into it and you're into the characters, it
doesn't matter.
You're so involved in it. You stop realizing that you're reading. So, I can't recommend it enough. It was fantastic.
I agree.
Was there? We didn't stay for an end credit scene.
No, we didn't. I don't think there was one.
There is. I think there is an end credit scene because I heard something at the end of the credits. Yeah, but we didn't stay. So maybe I have to look it up on the YouTubes and see if somebody has posted the end credit scene, if there is one, or if it was just a sound cue, because I heard the Godzilla roar after we left the theater.
The roar, or like the theme that happened when he roared?
Nope, the Godzilla roar. Nope, I heard the...
Every time he roared, it did like the...
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. Anyway, go see it. Highly recommend it. 10 out of 10.
Yep, I agree.